Welcome back, dear friends. Today, let's step into a quiet story from Japan, the land where people don't just live long, they live well. Imagine this: a man over 100 years old, still practicing medicine, still walking into his clinic every morning with a gentle smile. His name is Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara, Japan's oldest physician and a symbol of graceful aging. When asked what keeps his mind so clear after all these years, he simply said, "It's not about how you wake up, it's about how you go to sleep." That might sound poetic, but behind those words lies a truth that science is only beginning to understand. Because while we sleep, something extraordinary happens. The body may rest, but the brain, it begins its night shift. It sorts through the day's experiences, organizes memories, clears away toxins, and restores the very wiring that keeps us sharp and alive. But there's a catch. Your brain can only repair itself if you give it what it needs before bedtime: the environment, the signals, and the nutrients. Dr. Hinohara calls this the night ritual, a simple but powerful practice that can protect your memory, calm your heart, and help your brain stay young no matter your age. He once told a story about a patient, a retired school principal named Mr. Yamamoto, who came to him at 74 years old, a disciplined man, healthy, punctual, respected. Yet he was losing his focus, forgetting names, misplacing keys, walking into a room and not remembering why. He had followed a Western rule he'd read somewhere: never eat after 6 p.m. But what he didn't realize was that his brain after 60 no longer responds like it used to. It needs support, not starvation. Dr. Hinohara smiled and said gently, "Your brain is not fragile. It is hungry. And every night, it waits for your kindness." That was the beginning of a small change. That brought a big difference. When the brain starves in silence, Dr. Hinohara explained it like this: the brain is like a great library. Each night, it files new books, repairs old ones, and dusts the shelves. But for that to happen, the librarian needs light, tools, and energy. If you take those away, if you starve the system, the brain can't organize. It can only survive. That's exactly what had happened to Mr. Yamamoto. He wasn't eating late to stay fit. He was unintentionally starving his brain. For 8 long hours each night, his body and mind entered a fast without the nutrients to sustain them. And over time, that quiet neglect turned into foggy mornings, sluggish focus, and a creeping sense of forgetfulness. When Dr. Hinohara suggested a small change, a warm bowl of tofu broth before bed, a few minutes of deep breathing, and soft stretches, everything began to shift. Within weeks, Mr. Yamamoto felt more alert. His mornings grew clearer. His wife even said he seemed more present, more himself again. That's what happens when we stop starving the brain. You see, most people think of hunger as something that happens in the stomach. But after 60, hunger often begins in the nervous system, a craving for balance, rhythm, and gentle care. Dr. Hinohara called it the silent hunger. When you ignore it, the brain stays on guard, half awake, half anxious, scanning for safety instead of resting. But when you nourish it with warmth, calmness, and a little rhythm, it feels safe enough to let go, to heal. Science now agrees. Studies show that nighttime rituals such as stretching, slow breathing, or having a small warm drink can lower cortisol, stabilize heart rate, and improve memory formation during sleep. It's not about how much you eat, it's about what you signal to your body. Dr. Hinohara used to say, "The brain doesn't understand time, it understands rhythm." And that rhythm begins with one simple act: preparing your body and your mind for rest, not collapse. The Japanese way of nighttime nourishment. When most people think about nighttime habits, they think of brushing teeth or turning off the lights. But in Japan, There's a deeper wisdom. Nighttime food is instruction. Dr. Hinohara often said that what we eat and how we eat it sends messages to the brain. Warm, gentle foods whisper you're safe now. It's time to rest. Cold or heavy foods shout confusion, telling the body it's still daytime. That's why his evening meals were never grand. Just a small bowl of warm miso broth with tofu. Maybe a few steamed greens or a piece of white fish with ginger. Not too much. Not too little, just enough to tell the body the day is done. He explained that after 60, the body changes. Blood flow slows. Hormones shift. And our metabolism enters what's called catabolism, a state where the body breaks down tissue, even brain tissue, to create energy during fasting. So when an older person goes to bed on an empty stomach, the brain says, we're out of fuel. And instead of healing, it defends itself, protecting energy instead of rebuilding memory. This is why so many seniors wake up tired even after 8 hours of sleep. It's not bad luck, it's biology. To nourish the brain, Hinohara recommended a balance of 3 gentle elements. 1. Warmth, because heat soothes the vagus nerve and calms the stress response. 2. Light protein, like tofu or egg, which feeds neurotransmitters that support memory. 3. Mineral comfort, from fermented foods or soft greens, helping the gut relax and communicate with the brain. He would often smile and add, "Don't feed the stomach, feed the spirit." It's not about quantity, but signal. The signal that the body is safe, the mind is calm, and the night can begin. It's a small ritual, a few sips, a few breaths, but one that rewires how your brain enters sleep. Shinshin Ichino, the harmony of mind and body. In Japan, there's a beautiful phrase, Shinshin Ichino Shinshin Yiru, meaning the mind and body are one. Dr. Hinohara lived by this idea, and it guided everything he taught. To him, the nightly ritual wasn't only about food. It was about creating an environment where every part of your body, mind, and spirit understands. It's time to restore. He explained that the body listens to many signals: light, sound, breath, touch, and all of them teach the brain how to behave. So, if your room is bright, your television is loud, and your phone glows beside your pillow, your brain thinks it's still daytime. But when you dim the lights, breathe slowly, and move gently, you send a different message. It's safe now. You may rest. Dr. Hinohara would encourage people to turn off screens at least 30 minutes before bed. He said that blue light confuses the moon, a poetic way to describe how it suppresses melatonin, the hormone that helps us sleep deeply. Instead, he recommended lighting a candle, opening a window for fresh air, or reading something soothing, perhaps poetry or philosophy. He believed even sound mattered. A soft rhythm of your breath, the faint rustle of paper, these become the lullabies of your nervous system. And then came his favorite practice, hara breathing. Slow, deep breaths into the belly, with an exhale longer than the inhale. Just 5 minutes, he said, can calm the heart, lower cortisol, and guide the brain into its healing rhythm. He often smiled and told his patients, "You don't fall asleep, you return to yourself." To him, sleep was not a break from life. It was the quiet ceremony of reconnecting the body and the mind after a long day of separation. When you combine this breathing with warmth, gratitude, and gentle light, the whole body enters harmony, and the brain begins its most important work, rebuilding who you are. The science of gratitude and memory. Before ending each day, Dr. Hinohara had one final ritual. It required no special tools, no expense, only a quiet moment and a pen. He called it the gratitude list. Each night, before closing his eyes, he would write down 3 small things he was grateful for. Not grand events, but gentle ones: the sound of rain on the roof, a patient smile, a bowl of warm miso, a peaceful breath. He said, gratitude tells the brain that the world is still kind, and when the brain feels safe, it can rest. Modern science has now caught up with this ancient wisdom. A study in the journal Applied Psychology, Health and Well-Being found that people who wrote down 3 things they were thankful for before bed slept longer and felt more rested. Another study from UC Davis discovered that gratitude practices lowered blood pressure, improved sleep quality, and even strengthened the immune system. But the most beautiful finding lies in the brain itself. When we feel gratitude, the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for emotional balance and memory, lights up. That activation tells the body you are safe, and only in safety can the mind store memories properly. Dr. Hinohara used to say, "A grateful brain is a peaceful brain, and a peaceful brain remembers better." It's not about forcing positivity or ignoring pain. It's about closing each day with a gentle reminder, despite the noise of life, there is still light. He noticed that older patients who practiced gratitude regularly seemed to regain more than memory, they regained joy. Their faces softened, their eyes brightened, and they began to speak more kindly to themselves. So before you sleep tonight, take a moment. Breathe in slowly. Think of 3 small things that warmed your heart today, even something as simple as the comfort of your bed right now. You'll be surprised how deeply that calm travels from your breath to your heart, to your brain itself. Movement before stillness, the gentle way to prepare the brain. One of Dr. Hinohara's most unexpected teachings was this: before you feed the brain, move the body but gently. He didn't mean exercise or sweat. He meant soft, mindful movement that tells your nervous system, it's time to let go. In his clinic, he would often show older patients a simple 5-minute sequence to perform before their bedtime nourishment ritual. Begin with neck rolls, slowly drawing circles with your head. Move to shoulder circles, releasing the tension of the day. Fold forward gently, letting the spine lengthen and the breath deepen. Then, sit quietly, breathing into your belly in for 4 counts, out for 6. Just 5 minutes, but these 5 minutes, he said, can do what medicine often cannot: bring back the body's sense of safety. Why does it work? Because gentle movement increases blood flow to the brain, activates the parasympathetic nervous system, and releases built-up stress hormones. In this state, when you then eat your warm miso soup or tofu broth, the brain absorbs nourishment more efficiently, as if every cell is saying, "Thank you." That's why he always insisted, movement first, then nourishment. Movement opens the stage, food becomes the offering. Together, they send a message that echoes through the entire body. The day is done. The healing may begin. Many of his patients who had trouble sleeping reported that after just a week of these movements, their rest felt deeper and their mornings clearer. They weren't just sleeping, they were restoring. For those who felt heavy or anxious before bed, Dr. Hinohara would remind them, when the body flows, the thoughts slow. He believed that aging gracefully wasn't about pushing harder, it was about learning when to soften. So tonight, before you reach for your tea or journal, move a little. Roll your shoulders. Breathe deeply. Let your body lead your brain into calmness. Because stillness, he said, is not the absence of movement. It's the reward of gentle rhythm. The doctor's final words: memory, peace, and the night ritual. As the interview drew to a close, the host asked Dr. Hinohara a final question. "Doctor, if you could give one message to people over 60 who fear losing their memory, what would it be?" He smiled that calm, knowing smile that carried a century of wisdom and said, "Memory does not fade with age. It fades with neglect." The room fell silent. He continued, softly, "Each night, your brain waits for you to feed it, to calm it, to thank it. And if you remember your mind before sleep, it will remember you in the morning. That was his secret, not a pill, not a miracle, but a ritual, a way of ending the day with respect for your own body. He encouraged everyone to begin small, a warm bowl of miso soup or milk with turmeric, a few gentle stretches, 3 slow breaths into the belly, and a short note of gratitude. That's all it takes to tell the brain, you are safe now. You may heal. The host, touched by his words, said, "Doctor, that's not just advice, it's an invitation." Hinohara nodded. Yes, aging well is not about control. It's about rhythm, consistency, and soft strength. And then, in a whisper almost like a blessing, he added, treat the night as medicine, and you will wake up younger. So tonight, when you lie down, remember this gentle Japanese ritual movement: warmth, gratitude, and breath. It's not just a routine. It's a message to your brain that life is still unfolding beautifully, even after 60. And as Dr. Hinohara would say, the purpose of sleep is not to escape the day, but to return to your truest self. Dear friends, may your nights be calm, your mornings clear, and your memories bright. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to share it with someone you care about. Together, let's help more people rediscover the quiet power of rest and gratitude. Thank you for watching, and until next time, may you sleep peacefully, with a heart full of warmth and a mind full of light.